Two people that I am collaborating with right now. Kristen, Anderson-Lopez, and Bobby Lopez are our guests tonight. They are Oscar winners for Let It Go from Frozen. That's only the second film they've ever written, which is amazing. The second film that I ever wrote, my mom has read. So. Along with the book writer Jennifer Lee, who also wrote and co-directed the film, Kristen and Bobby have adapted Frozen for the Broadway stage. We begin performances at the St. James Theater in just 4 weeks. So please welcome to the stage Kristen, Anderson-Lopez, and Bobby.
Frozen come into our life. We had worked on Finding Nemo. We had turned Finding Nemo into a musical a long time ago. And then we worked on a little movie called Winnie the Pooh.
Really?
You're the one who saw it? It came out on the same day as the final Harry Potter. It was a rough one. But then during that time, they realized that we really liked to write songs and also develop story. And so they called us, and actually it was Bobby. I must have been home with, we had very, very little kids then, and for some reason you were in LA. And they called us and said, we want to talk to you about this musical we're working on. And he went and saw some pictures and got a pitch. I think you were like 2 hours late because you got lost, right?
I took a cab, and I didn't have a good sense of LA geography back then. Well, we were when we first started, Elsa was the villain, and the story didn't work that way. And we basically changed all the characters around. We made Elsa, instead of being the wild child who kind of had ice powers and liked to cause a ruckus everywhere she went, we made her the buttoned-up one, a straight-A student with a secret to hide. And then we realized at some point in the story, we have to get her from this buttoned-up girl, straight-A student type, to the Snow Queen, the one that we had the picture of, Elsa in her amazing outfit and all that. We realized we needed this transformation song, and at first it was called Elsa's Badass Song. That was the temporary slot.
Our 8-year-old is like, don't say ass! So we call it Elsa's Bad Butt Song.
And so Kristen really had a good beat on what this was about: power, female awakening to their power. And we were walking in Prospect Park, right?
Oh, we were walking in Prospect Park. Actually, we knew the words "let it go." The idea of like letting go of everything you've ever known, letting go of all of the promises and all of the people that you've worked so hard to please your whole life. That was a big part of the song. But the other part was finally letting go of all you've been holding in and letting your true power out. Sometimes you have to say goodbye to pleasing everybody in order for your power to truly come out. And that was what we were really excited about. And we were walking in Prospect Park and we jumped up on a picnic table.
Kristen did.
I did.
I kind of blew in her face.
And we just started imagining like what that would feel like. And it was Bobby, actually. Any line that sounds like it could be sung in a drag queen bar is a line that Bobby wrote. Like, the snow glows white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen, a kingdom of isolation. It looks like I'm the queen. It's a little purple, and that, but in the way that he said it, I think it really does carry the weight. And then I wrote the stuff about, be the good girl you always have to be. I mean, what woman out there does not know what it's like to try to be perfect all the time, right? And the idea of letting go of that, it was so freeing for us as, just me as a lyricist. Like, stop caring what people think! And it just sort of flowed out. Right? So that's Let It Go.
Beautiful. And there are 8 songs that we know from the film, and they're much more interconnected than we realize when we're singing them at karaoke. I'd like you guys to talk about some of the recurring motifs that appear in the show.
Sure, yeah. You know, it all kind of boils down to Let It Go, and I think I'm going to head over to your chair, Brian.
Woo!
So, now I'm over here. So after we wrote Let It Go, the filmmaker said, okay, we have to make the movie around this. We know this song is going to be in it. And so we felt free to use Let It Go to help create the other songs in the movie. So, for example, there's a part in Let It Go where she sings, don't let them in, don't let them see, be the good girl you always have to be, etc. We realized that that was a callback to an earlier moment. So when we wrote the song First Time in Forever, that became that earlier moment when Elsa's up in her tower. Don't let them in, don't let them see, right? It's the same notes. It's the same exact tune. You don't necessarily notice it when you're singing at karaoke.
And that's sort of that's her motif of repression and kind of the mantra of like keep it in, be perfect, be perfect.
That also appears in Do You Want to Build a Snowman in the in-between sections. You know, it goes. And there's another part which we like to call the dangerous theme now. That's also in Do You Want to Build a Snowman, and we use this theme, this group of notes, as a big theme in Frozen Broadway. You can hear it in a lot of Elsa's material.
For theory buffs, isn't that it's the 6th, right? It's the 6th.
This part.
That interval has so much pain in it. And so that's kind of, we call it, you know, it's really the seat of Elsa's pain. And anytime that we are feeling Elsa's pain, chances are there's a 6th in there. And then there's sort of the Frozen Heart theme.
Oh, right.
Of
well, I was going to say, in the bridge, that theme had been it was related to the very first thing we wrote for the movie, which was...
This was a song called We Know Better, and it was actually the 2 little girls saying, like, this is what a princess is supposed to be like this, but we are human, and we know better. We know that princesses are real, 3-dimensional people. The song didn't make it in the movie, but all of the themes did, so that's good.
And then what else from...
Well, there was the Frozen Heart. Anytime that someone is in sort of in mortal danger, there's this sort of Frozen Heart theme. And this shows up a lot, and this provided a lot of DNA for us as we expanded the musical, that we could call on all of these different themes when we were deepening each one of these dramatic conflicts. Ta-da!
It also makes it easier when you're stuck for a song and you're like, what shall the musical material be? Oh, I'll just grab that from this song, and I'll grab that from this song, and we'll put it together in a new way, and it'll all be related.
We got to deepen the 2 little girls and really look at what happened in this moment, and how did Anna and who she is, and Elsa, and the shame and the secrecy kind of lead to this moment of trauma where the family gets frozen into their roles, and it all begins with this one night, and building. You talk, because I've been talking a lot.
Well, we showed we called it Recipe for Olaf when we were planning it, and it got a different title. But they basically build a snowman on stage. They're not building him out of snow. They use toys, and then Elsa casts a spell, and he comes to life. So basically, we're showing how the 2 girls put elements of themselves into this little guy.
And the stage mother in me wants to share the demo we wrote. Our kids do a lot of our demos. Our kids were both in the movie. Katie's the first verse of Do You Want to Build a Snowman? A little bit of you, a little bit of me, a part that loves to dream.
A part that swings from a tree, a little like me, a little like you.
A part that's nice,
a part that's naughty too. A loyal friend who is there no matter
with a
what.
big round belly
And a big bouncy butt.
We can stop there.
You want to play that again and I'll just sing Let It Go to it?
Oh yeah, do you want to sing?
Yeah. Let it go, can't hold it back anymore. Let it go, turn away, and close the door.
They're connected. And again, what we're trying to do is make sure that everything we wrote for Broadway comes from the DNA of the original movie and all of the values that went into the original movie. It was kind of, we have a dual protagonist kind of movie and a dual protagonist Broadway show, and one person has a very clear I Want song. First Time in Forever is a very straightforward I Want song. But how do you write an I Want song for a girl who's not allowed to want anything? And that was our struggle as we looked at the movie, and we saw that once you lost Elsa's close-ups in the first 30 minutes of the movie, we needed to figure out a different way to tell the story, because you can't zoom in if you're in the third mezzanine and see what's going on in her eyes. We needed to find a way to express what you saw in those moments of panic and those moments of longing and yearning to be herself. We had to bring that out in some way that was authentic and correct. So we wrote this song called Dangerous to Dream. Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Well, sure. Why don't you sing it first, and then we can talk about it?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna sing. We're gonna sing just little snippets of these things because we don't want to spoil it for the real experience. Okay. I'm gonna stand up for this one because
this is Elsa at her coronation. We kind of go into her mind as she's getting ready to have to hold those objects and doesn't want to let her powers come out in front of everybody, and everything is riding on this moment.
Stop there.
So if you can play that Dangerous, just the melody. No, yeah. Da 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 da. Right?
The Dangerous motif. I really can't wait for the world to see how Michael Grandage and the beautiful production has brought that song to life. It is.
Not to mention Casey Levy.
And Casey Levy, oh my God. I cannot wait, because when we saw it come to life in Denver, it just took my life, it took my breath away. It was so beautiful, and I was so proud to be working with these incredible artists who took something we wrote in our basement and turned it into this beautiful living painting up there. So I'm really excited to share that, starting February 22nd. So, this is a fun one for us to write.
Well, basically we realized you can't do that. You can't do a big action scene. You don't want to. People following a musical story want to see emotion on stage. So we have this character, Christoph, played by John Groff in the film, Jelani Aladdin.
And you guys, in person, he is as sexy as a
and of course he's got this glorious voice which we really didn't use. So we wanted to give Christoph his due, and so we wrote a song that brought Anna and Christoph from meeting up the mountain and show it's more of a journey, like a philosophical clash over their approaches and philosophies of love.
Yeah, we were really excited to get to lean into this romantic comedy, and so and we put in sort of traces of our own sparring relationship in there, and we're going to sing the first little bit for you right now. You've got opinions on my life and my relations, but let me tell you what.
Okay, enlighten me.
Love is the one thing that has zero complications, and I can trust my gut.
Okay, you frighten me.
Some people know their hearts the minute true love starts.
Some people read a lot of books.
I like books. Some people simply know when true love says hello.
Some folks are taken in by curly locks and princely looks.
He does have princely looks. We can agree on that one.
Right. By the way, what color eyes does he have? All I'm saying is when you go to climb a mountain, you don't just jump to the top.
If it's true love, it can.
You're scaling and scrambling and too many steps for counting. And the work doesn't stop.
Maybe for you.
Love's not an easy climb. You have to take your time.
Get a whole life, that's the plan.
That's not a plan. Love's not a thing you get. It's work and tears and sweat.
So says a sweaty, smelly mountain man.
But what do you know about love? What do you know about love?
Autism often comes from having been lonely or sad, and then saying like, no, I'm gonna have a better life. I'm going to make a better choice. I'm going to go and I'm going to do something. And even at her lowest, Anna is always like, there's hope. But at this moment, she finds herself behind a locked door, and she kind of looks at her life and looks at a pattern of always being shut out behind a door. And this is when Hans has left her.
Spoiler
alert. This is when Hans has basically revealed that Christoph was right. He was a scam artist, and she's kind of looking at this pattern and how this locked door led her here. And I guess I might as well sing it. Right? Hours and hours on end. I know this delusional wish the door would open to reveal a friend. I know this solitude, I know this kind of cold, but I had faith in what the stories told of true love, how I'd find true love. And here I am in this room again, just as lost and small, a lonely girl with a desperate heart is who I am. After all, there's no escaping her. She just is a walking, beautiful picture of human vulnerability. She just lets you into all of the joy and the heartbreak and the anxiety and mistakes that we have as human beings. I have an exciting card to read. So this is something we've been cooking up since the fall, and we're so excited about it. Beginning February 23rd, which is Bobby's birthday. And for the next 4 Fridays after that, we're going to be releasing 4 of the new Frozen songs. What Do You Know About Love, Dangerous to Dream, True Love, and one you didn't hear here called Monster. Every Friday, and they'll be sung by our brilliant cast with the full orchestra, so you'll be hearing the songs just as they're going to be in the show, and you can listen to them wherever music is sold or streamed. So.